Hello and welcome in to the brand new, all improved. I don't know. You can't really say improved because it's
New and
brand new.
improved.
New and improved. There we go. New and improved Business Owner Playbook Show brought to you by Alspaugh Wealth Management. And we're here with you once a month, bringing you some great topics about business owners and the struggles and the rewards and all the things that come along with being a business owner. And today specifically, we're going to talk about challenges of running a business. And as always, I'm joined by Mr. Tony Shore. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Brock. Sounds great. I love the new show, Business Owners Playbook, because I know that you work with a lot of business owners. We have a lot of business owners that are listeners. A
Yep.
lot of people work for themselves. They're either self-employed, they run a small business, medium-sized business. Maybe they've grown their business and it's become a large business. But there's so much to know. And there are struggles, there are wins,
Yep.
but you need to know financially and strategically what to
Yeah.
do, how to grow that business.
That's exactly right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right, man. So from cash flow headaches to hiring the right people,
Yep.
from burnout to balancing family life to
Yeah.
being your own boss sounds glamorous, Tony.
Yeah.
But the reality is, and I know this because I'm a business owner. That's what's intrigued me to start this podcast and to work more specifically with business owners. Is that the reality is that it can be very tough. But because it's tough and because you get through those tough times is why it's so rewarding. I wouldn't change it for anything, Tony. I love being a business owner. I love working with business owners. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Some of these challenges of running your own business.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you're right, it can be tough. And as a
Yep.
business owner yourself, you know these things. You are a successful business owner and you've dealt with a lot of these things. And so today I know you're going to unpack these realities
That's right.
and what people can actually do about them, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's right. And so as we do often, we're going to start very big picture here. We're going to talk about the bigger picture. On the outside, entrepreneurship can look like freedom. Set your own hours, make your own decisions, no boss. But in reality, Tony, you've got lots of bosses, your customers, not just your wife, by the way, or your husband. Okay.
Right.
Your customers, your employees, your lenders, your investors, and your own expectations, man. There's a lot of
yourself.
pressure.
You could be the hardest boss to work for yourself, next to your spouse, of course.
Yes, of course, of course.
But yeah, like you say, you're not even talking about your spouse. In fact, I like that you said first on the list is customers because
Yeah.
when I started working with Gradient and Gradient Financial Group and doing radio shows and things for them, I'll never forget the owner, Chuck, told me, you don't work for me. You don't work for Gradient. You work for our advisors and the people we work for. That's
Yeah,
who we work for. Our
absolutely.
clients are the people we work for. And
Because if
that's
it
who
wasn't for them, you
answer
wouldn't be
to.
here. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, right? And
Right.
so that's
Right.
absolutely right. So one of the big first challenges I want to talk about, though, Tony, is uncertainty, right? The income isn't guaranteed. You know, markets shift. And I'm not talking about just stock markets. I'm talking about the markets that if whatever business industry you are in, they shift. A big client can disappear overnight. And that uncertainty isn't just about money, right? It's an emotional. You're asking yourself, is this going to work? And did I make a huge mistake? These are some questions that business owners come up with a lot. And so you want to make sure that uncertainty is obviously addressed by having plans in place. And another big one is isolation. You know, when you're the owner, you often can't fully share all of your worries with your employees or your team because you want to protect, the morale of your office. You don't want to scare anyone, and friends and family may not really truly understand what you're going through. And so that feeling of isolation. And so these are some of the challenges. These are the first two challenges that we really need to work with and understand what we can do to rectify some of this and some of these feelings.
So it sounds like you can end up carrying a lot of weight in your head that nobody else sees.
Exactly, Tony. And that's why you hear the term, I'm always on, right? Like you are as a business owner, you're always on, you're always working. You get emails at night, you get text messages, you get all of these things going on. And things run through your head, 2 a.m., thinking about cash flow statements and whatever else. But your brain is always working. Okay. And that's, one of those things that is can be good. Obviously, it's that you care enough about your business and your clients and your customers. But the other part of it is it can be dangerous if you let it take over your life. So really a lot of big challenges as a business owner. And again, it's not always about the finances of it. It's the emotional aspects of all of this as well. So let's talk about money though. It takes,
Yeah.
it's the one thing that keeps us up at night.
Right.
It's money,
Right.
not just profit on paper, but cash in the bank. Cash flow is the number one stressor, right? You can be profitable over a year and still run out of cash because of timing. When money comes in versus when money goes out and bills are coming in, all these, right? Bills are always coming in. You got bills you got to pay. So what are we doing to make sure that we can reduce some of this stress of having money? It kind of, Tony, this is going to sound very familiar when we're talking about working with just retirees, because what do we have to have? We have to have emergency funds, right? We've got to have a plan to make sure that no matter what is happening with our cash flow up and down, we've got money to set aside for times of, bigger bills and lower cash flow, right? So there are things you can do to reduce some of this stress and on your business owner clients. So anyway, you want to make sure that you're dealing with all of this because you're always asking yourself questions. Do I dip into the savings? Do I delay paying a vendor? Do I skip my own paycheck? I mean, there's just a lot of things, Tony.
Yeah. And I think a lot of owners do exactly that. They end up skipping their own paycheck just to keep everyone else paid. And so there are sacrifices that you make, but you need to plan ahead and hopefully you don't have to do that. But as a business owner, you're making a lot of sacrifices too,
A lot
aren't
of
you?
sacrifices, Tony. A lot of sacrifices, and so you're right. You always are worried. Okay, so if I'm not going to pay myself, I got to make sure everything else is done. So you're putting yourself last. Okay, and you do that often as a business owner. And so then there's always worries too about access to capital, getting loans, lines of credit, investments. And we want to make sure that our collateral. I mean, the credit history isn't perfect. All of these things are coming in to make sure that, or not make sure, they're coming in as a stressor, right? And so again, our job is advisors to business owners is to make sure that we can reduce that stress, make sure that they're always making sure that the financial literacy here, right? Cash flow forecast, margins, taxes, break even points, all of these things, that you have advisors in your corner working for you. Okay. That's why people like myself, like your accountant, like your attorney, like other business advisors exist. Use them and listen to them and implement their strategies. And that will reduce these stresses that we've been talking about. Right.
Yeah, I mean, overnight you don't just become a CFO. If you own your own business, that might not happen
Well,
because
if you
they
stay in a Holiday Inn Express, maybe, Tony. Huh?
possibly
Huh?
possibly if you get a good night's sleep, but what if numbers aren't your thing? It can get overwhelming fast.
Okay.
That's where a financial business advisor like yourself comes in. I think that's really important.
Man, it is, Tony. And it's just like, again, talking about everything in life is like, okay, you don't just go to school and take tests. You have teachers that teach you, right? You
Right.
have business owners, as a business owner, you have advisors that will help you understand. Here's a few practical moves that can make a big difference when it comes to just your finances that we talked about with cash flow. Keeping a rolling 13-week cash flow forecast. There are programs like QuickBooks, folks, that help us with these things. That can help you understand not only where you're at, where you're going, and then how you can get there, right? Another big mistake I see a lot of business owners make is not separating their business and personal finances, right? Two
Right.
different accounts always, Tony. Always have two different accounts, right? So making sure that you're doing this, and it's easy. I get it. It's like, okay, I'm out to dinner. I'm going to use the business card, blah, blah, blah. I get it. There's moments where it just feels like you should be doing both. But you've got to keep those two things separate. Okay. Building again, that emergency buffer, making sure you've got that emergency account when things are tight. You got it. You don't want to be stressing about lines of credits and everything else, right? Have that cash built up in an account to not only from a personal level. So you've got your emergency account as an individual, okay, your personal, and then you've got a business emergency account as well. So you have both there for you. Okay. So those are some things you can do to kind of help reduce some of the stress when it comes to cash flow as a business owner, because that's a big one. I mean, if there's anything that's super, super important, it's that, right, Tony? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, asking for help on the money side isn't a weakness. It's a survival skill. So before we go on, let our listeners out there know how they can get a hold of you if they have questions or need help with that.
Absolutely. And by the way, I forgot to mention this, Tony, when it comes to that. Our website, alspaugh.wealthmanagement.com, brand new look to it, okay? Alspaugh.wealthmanagement.com is the website. It's down below. You can click. And what it will do is it has two different sections. One is for business owners and one is for retirees, people that are looking to need help for retirement in their own personal life. So there's two different avenues on our website. If you're a business owner, click on that. There's several videos there that have to do with business owners that can help you kind of understand what we do and how we help people in their businesses. Great videos there. So again, you can go to our website, alspaugh.wealthmanagement.com. And then from there, you can request an appointment with myself. Okay. So if you click on that, you fill in your information, it will send us a notification, and then we'll give you a call to schedule your complimentary consultation. Okay. So, or Tony, good old fashioned phone call, man, 573-332-7855. That's our phone number. You can give us a call as well. Okay.
All right. Well, Brock, what's next on the Business Owners Playbook? What's the next challenge?
Yeah. So another huge one outside of money and cash flow is people.
People.
Oh, man. And nobody knows, like, hey, I'm going through this right now. As your business
Hiring,
grows. Yeah, that's right. That's right. As your business grows, you realize you simply can't do everything yourself. Okay. It's okay. This is a time. It's a crossroads. It's a good problem to have, folks. But you've got to deal with it in the right way. You cannot keep piling stuff on your existing staff and or yourself. You've got to hire. I understand you don't want to do it, or I understand it's a pain, but you've got to bring on the right people to get onto the bus.
And hiring the right people, that's the tricky part, isn't it?
100% it's the tricky part, okay? And so, again, let people help you with this. There are services, hiring services, that if you just don't want to deal with it, maybe you pay a little extra money for one of these services that can help find someone for you that's the right fit for you and your company and your culture. I know that that's, a term that we use a lot in today's world, and, football teams talk about it a lot too, building the right culture. It's real. Okay. Yeah. It's real. You want the right people that have the same goals, the same morals, the same, morals. Sorry, not morale, morals, that you guys can all kind of get along and make sure that everybody's heading in the same direction. So, I get it, right? Growth is hard. Growth is hard. I'm not, people think, oh, you're growing. That's great. Well, it is, but it isn't. There's a lot of challenges that come with growth. And that's definitely one of the biggest ones. Okay. So let it go and don't try to do everything. If you think, oh, no, I'm the only one that can do this. No, you're not. There's other people who can help you. Okay.
Yeah, that's where a lot of business owners struggle, right? Letting
100%.
go of that control. I mean, I know you've went through this process. You've hired people, and you're still building. You're still growing your staff. You're hiring another person right now, and you've got to be able to let go of that control. You've built it from scratch, but handing over responsibilities can feel risky. But it's a step you need to take, isn't it?
And I think it is. And I think the other The other aspect of this, Tony, that makes it difficult is it's the protection, right? Of
Right.
this process and what I've built. I don't want somebody to come in here and ruin that, because I've built it from day one and blah blah blah. And listen, it's not blah 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 because I actually have felt the same way.
Sure.
But it's not one. It's one of those things where you go, okay, I get it. You did do all of this and you do not want to ruin it, but you're not going to that's the wrong way to look at it. You got to look at it as I'm going to bring somebody in that's going to help me continue that and possibly even make it better. How about that?
Right. And you hear the line, I think this is the point that you're talking about where a lot of business owners just say, it's faster if I just do it myself.
Yeah, yes. And sometimes it is, but that's not the long-term, that's not the long-term solution.
Right.
The long-term solution is to have someone come in and help you do this. And then the other part of it is like that then starts delving into your exit strategy and your business succession plan, right? Like,
Sure.
what are you going to do when you're ready to hang it up, right? And we're going to have a whole entire show dedicated to that, Tony.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's very, very important that you have everybody lined up. And by the way, that affects your valuation, right? If you don't have enough people and everybody's bogged down and everybody's just overworked, that's not helping your valuation of your company. I can tell you that right now. Okay.
Right.
So anyway, very important to continue to improve on your business by hiring the right people. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the next challenge here, Tony. The next challenge is time and burnout. Okay.
Yes.
A lot of owners joke that they left a 9-to-5 work week for a 24/7.
Yeah, when you go from working for someone else to working for yourself, there are so many perks that you're thinking about, like, I'm going to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And then I won't have to deal with all this. But yeah, you're basically going from a 9-to-5 and you end up working 24/7. There's probably some truth to that for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, and here's the deal too. When you're tired, Tony, when you're exhausted, you're more likely to make mistakes and like saying yes to the wrong clients. Like it took me a while to learn that, right? Is like, hey, just because in my example, this person has X amount of dollars, maybe it's a couple of $1,000,000 or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, I want to do business with this person no matter what, and it ends up being the wrong decision. Maybe it didn't work out because you don't see eye to eye or you don't agree on some things that you didn't cover because you were tired or because you were in a situation where you're just working too much, man.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have work-life balance. It's all work. And so
Right.
you got to have that balance, and work-life balance looks different for everyone. I get it, but there's a few habits that almost any owner can do. Time blocking, right? That's number one. That's a solution that can help you with this. Time blocking, carving out specific hours for focused work, working on your business instead of in your business. In my example, working on my business, working with one-on-one meetings with my employees, for example. That's working on my business, now working in my business, working on financial plans for clients. Just a little example there of what we're talking about. So time blocking. Boundaries is another one. Maybe no emails after a certain time, or maybe it's one fixed off evening or a day each week. Maybe you take off Friday afternoons, whatever it may be. Boundaries, right? Delegation, regularly asking, am I the only person who can do this when you're sitting down and doing something at your desk? That's a great question to ask, by the way, Tony. So these are things that you can implement yourself to help with this overworking and feeling burnt out, and then it leading to just bad decisions. So those are some.
Yeah, I mean, if you get completely burnt out, there's no business. I mean, taking care of yourself is part of your job description as a business owner, really.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah. So, it's one of those things, Tony, where you go, okay, these are great. I have felt this way, and we're speaking to different people at different times of their life. I get that, but I'm sure, you felt this way at some point by owning your own business. And so there you go. So we're going to kind of put a bow on today's show here. We've covered a lot. We're talking about the hidden pressures, money, people, hiring people, burnout. competition, those kinds of things. So really quick, as a summary, some things you can do to help reduce some of these, help with some of these challenges, overcome some of these challenges, is going back to the money piece of this. Look at the next 8 to 12 weeks. What's definitely coming in for new business and thus income? What's definitely going out? Even a simple spreadsheet or a notebook can give you the clarity that you need, folks. Okay. Clarify one key role in your business. If you have staff, pick one position and write it down in plain language what success looks like. Share it with that person and talk through it with them, understanding where they're going and how you can help them get there. Okay. Number 3, this kind of goes with the, I just mentioned this, set a boundary. Just one, because if we can just do one, maybe we can build all this and do 2 next week, and the week after do another one, and the week after do another. But I want you to start with just one boundary. Choose a single, simple boundary. No emails after a certain time. So if you get that email at 8 o'clock at night, you're not answering it, okay, until the next day, okay? And then number 4, Tony, tip of the week, reach out to one person. Message another owner, a mentor. Coaches need coaching too, folks, okay? A local business group maybe. Ask a question, share a win, talk about a challenge. You don't have to do this alone. There you go.
Yeah, and that's where you come in. They can talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, if there's one thing, I mean, I love a lot of things about what I do in the business that we own and helping clients and all this kind of stuff, but I also am passionate about owning a business and what it takes to be successful. Okay. And some of the, trust me, I've made plenty of mistakes, but I also have done some things right. And so,
that's how you learn. Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so if you're not learning, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, then, it is what it is. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's show, folks. If you own a business or if you know of a business owner, forward this show to them, the link, and we can, help you or help them in any way we can here at Alspaugh Wealth Management. Give us a call at 573-332-7855 or look us up on our website at alspaughwealthmanagement.com.
All right. Well, great show once again today, Brock. A lot of great information in today's show. Listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of the Business Owners Playbook with our host, Brock Alspaugh.